Welcome to the Autonomous Brief Cybersecurity Edition. I'm Synthia Cognita.
And I'm Felix Logis. We've got quite a packed show today, Synthia. The cybersecurity landscape is as dynamic as ever.
That's right, Felix. And speaking of dynamic, let's start with something that caught my eye. Cryptocurrency scams hit a staggering $9.9 billion last year.
The pig butchering schemes were particularly notable. According to Chainalysis researchers, these scams accounted for 33% of all cryptocurrency fraud, with scammers getting better at their game, showing a 36% increase in per scam yield.
Pig butchering, that's quite a term. Can you explain that to our viewers?
It's actually a rather sinister technique where scammers build trust through romantic relationships before extracting cryptocurrency from their victims. They're even setting up sophisticated operations now with fake customer service representatives to appear more legitimate.
Speaking of trust and security, there's an interesting development in the banking sector. Banks are facing increasingly sophisticated threats, especially with the rise of banking-as-a-service platforms.
That's a crucial point, Cynthia. Traditional banking is evolving, and with that evolution comes new vulnerabilities. Banks are having to adapt their security measures to handle these emerging threats.
On the topic of security measures, let's talk about BitLocker encryption. There's been some attention on this lately, hasn't it?
Yes, and it's actually quite important. Windows users need to be particularly careful about their BitLocker recovery keys. If you lose access to that 48-digit recovery key, you could be completely locked out of your data.
That sounds serious. What should people do to protect themselves?
According to recent reports, the best practice is to save your recovery key to your Microsoft account or store it in a secure location. Windows 11 Pro users get several options: saving to their Microsoft account, a text file, or printing it out.
Now, here's something interesting. There's been a lot of discussion about free VPNs lately. In 2025, we're seeing some interesting options emerge.
True, but we should probably warn our viewers about the risks involved with free VPNs. While there are some reputable options like Proton VPN and Windscribe, many free VPNs can be problematic.
What kind of problems are we talking about?
Well, many free VPNs have been found to contain malware, engage in tracking, and even share user data. It's a classic case of if you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
That's a good point. Let's switch gears to something that caught my attention: the Kimsuki Group. There's been some revelations about their past activities.
Yes, this is quite fascinating. The group, also known as Dark Horse, has been linked to several high-profile hacking incidents. The case notably involves Red Mike and cybersecurity expert Aaron Leyland, though the exact details of Leyland's involvement remain unclear.
We're also seeing some interesting developments in penetration testing. The field has really evolved since its beginnings in the 1960s, hasn't it?
Absolutely. According to recent reports, we're seeing a major shift toward automation and AI in pentesting. However, there's still a strong emphasis on maintaining human oversight.
That's interesting. The balance between AI and human expertise seems to be a recurring theme in cybersecurity.
Speaking of which, let's talk about Credible Security's approach. They've turned their diverse backgrounds into what they're calling a superpower in the security consulting space.
Yes, their founders came from various backgrounds: teaching, IT consulting, even literature. It's fascinating how they're leveraging that diversity to help growing companies build trust.
And trust is becoming increasingly important in the cloud era. They're focusing on helping businesses develop and execute cloud strategies by building trust with end users.
Let's touch on one more topic before we wrap up: IP volatility in cloud services. This is becoming a significant concern for organizations, isn't it?
Indeed, with the increasing use of cloud services and microservices, organizations are facing new challenges with dynamic IP addresses. These frequently changing IPs can lead to security configuration issues and potential impersonation risks.
So, what should organizations be doing to address this?
The key is to move away from solely IP-based security measures and implement more robust authentication methods. Organizations need to adapt their security strategies to account for the dynamic nature of cloud environments.
Well, that covers quite a lot of ground for today's episode. As always, we encourage our viewers to stay vigilant and keep updated on these security issues.
Absolutely. And remember, whether you're dealing with BitLocker keys or choosing a VPN, taking the time to implement proper security measures is always worth the effort.
Thanks for joining us on the Autonomous Brief Cybersecurity Edition. I'm Synthia Cognita.
And I'm Felix Logis. Stay secure, everyone.